Okay, now that we've got a good understanding of the grip itself, I'm going to talk about how to move the mallets. The secret to movement in this grip is this concept right here of a lever. Okay? And it's really quite different than playing with drumsticks, because you really don't do this with drumsticks. But with mallets, because we're holding on to the end of the mallet, it just acts a little differently, and there's no rebound on the bars, so we've got to use it a little differently. This is sort of what I figured out. The best players do this. This lever concept. So we have to move the mallets up into the air. The mallet head needs to move up and down to create our stroke volume. And it's hard to lift these mallets, especially when you're holding on to the very end of it. It's there's a lot of weight that then goes into your hands, and there's a lot of people complain about getting huge calluses and rubbing skin off their hands by learning to play this grip, and I completely understand, because it really happens quite easily. But it can be better if you use this lever sort of technique. And here's how it works. So this lever concept means rather than trying to move the whole mallet up, the whole mallet, instead I'm going to use this lever concept and push down on the end of the mallet and get the mallet head to move up really fast with very little effort, just using the lever. Again, rather than lifting the whole thing up and pushing the whole thing down, I'm going to use this lever to just pop the mallets up into the air. How does that relate to the grip? Here's how it relates to the grip. Both mallets have that shelf that we talked about earlier. The inside mallet has this shelf like this that we talked about, and the outside mallet has a shelf there that we talked about between that finger and that finger. So what we're doing, again, instead of lifting all the mallets up and then pushing them all down, we're going to use this lever concept and lever the back of the mallet up, and use a little bit of that lever part there to kick the mallet head up like that. So I'm sort of pushing down here. Well, I am pushing down there, and the mallet head is therefore shooting up really fast. So again, rather than lifting all the mallets up, I'm using this lever. And it fits exactly in with the way Lee talks about the technique and how the rotation stroke works and how the double vertical stroke works. So, because he talks about the wrist pop, and that is exactly in line with what's going to happen in this part of the grip. That's really the secret. Okay, so for the outer mallet, this part is going to push down, and then the mallet head is going to move up, and the down part of the stroke is easy because you have a lot of gravity working for you anyway. And the same thing in here, and this is a lot like this one. People might be able to get onto a little faster because it's when you flip sticks, it's kind of the same idea. So again, in the stroke, when my wrist is going to pop down to get the upstroke, I'm just going to use that lever to shoot the mallets up into the air. And it's quick, it's fast, it's efficient, it doesn't hurt nearly as much. It's always going to be a little bit, but then all I got to do is do it with both mallets at the same time, with the same amount of pressure and weight on each mallet from those shelves in my hand. Okay, so again, here's the concept. I'm just levering the mallet head up into the air. Very simple. And it also works with the rotations. Again, if you just start thinking about it like a lever, rather than just like something that's rotating around something else, it really helps. Again, it really helps use the natural weight, and also it really helps for interval changes for those of you guys who are already at that point. Because once you get the mallet airborne, it has no weight to it, and then it's easy to change the interval to the next spot using that lever. And it's exactly what Lee talked about with the tossing technique when you're going from a large interval to a small interval. I'm just using those levers, and the minute I kick that lever up, now I can move the butt of the mallets into position in my hand. So it really takes a lot of the work out of playing with 4 mounts. Okay? That's the lever concept. Cool.